Hello, London!
Hello, YouTube friends!
Well, today's day 5 in London, and we actually were not in London today. We went to Stratford upon Avon, home of the Swan, the Bard of Avon, William Shakespeare himself.
Yay!
So, we took a 2-hour train trip up to Stratford, or down to Stratford? I don't know.
I'm not sure where it is.
Out to Stratford. Yes.
We went there.
We went there. We went to Stratford. We slept the entire way. Well, I didn't know about you.
Yeah. I kind of did. It was a little
It was nice.
loud,
it was nice to sleep.
Fine.
Yeah, Alan Wade was very loud. In any event,
that's staying in. Alan Wade was very loud.
Oh, yeah, clearly. In any event, so we went to Stratford. And the first place we went to was the Shakespeare Centre of the town. Which was wonderful. We had where's my face? There we go. We had an interactive video thing with like sound and light and scenery, and it was real cool.
Yeah, cool.
And then we went from that to Shakespeare's birthplace, which was also cool. And there was like a guy dressed up as his father, and there was a really funny tour guide at the beginning. And
we bought a book.
I was going to get out mine because it's sitting right there. Oh, but you got yours? The tour guide at the beginning did a massive, shameless plug for this book called Shakespeare in a Nutshell, which is all, 37 plays in rhyme form. Read them the Hamlet quote. We miss our fellow Shakespeare scholars. We really do. They're some of our best friends at school. I mean, y'all know, hopefully, that in Hamlet, he sees his father's ghost, who tells him that his uncle is the one who killed him. His uncle, the king's father. So this is how Shakespeare in a nutshell puts it.
Your uncle is the guilty one. During my after-dinner snooze, occasioned by excess of booze, he seized his chance to sneak up near and pour some poison in my ear. Now stop your dithering about and go and sort the fellow out. Well, all Prince Hamlet has to do is knife his uncle in Act 2, but audiences wouldn't pay unless it was a 5-act play. So Shakespeare has this thoughtful youth soliloquize on cause and truth.
Keep going.
And keep going.
Just
revenge in the afterlife, etc., and ultimately the raison d'etre.
Yay! No, that's good. So yeah, it's just really funny.
Oh, I guess it's supposed to be etc. and then d'etre.
Yeah.
Raison d'etre.
Yeah. Yay, French and
I don't speak French.
And Latin. French and Latin. Yay! Okay, shh. In any event, Shakespeare spoke multiple languages. Yes, he's fabulous. So, after Shakespeare's birthplace, we went to get lunch at a cafe place, which was lovely. I didn't eat anything because I have no money. So I took my makeshift lunch that I stole from the hotel. I mean, what? The hotel here, actually really nice, gives us breakfast in the morning for free. Well, it's included in the price. And
it's yummy.
Mm-hmm. Well, I took 2 croissants and an apple, and that was my lunch. It was delicious. Anyway, yeah. So we got lunch. We got to sit with our professor, which was wonderful. We got to talk to him a lot, which was fun, because he's a wonderful man. Again, shameless plug, take his class. I promise you.
Take any class with Alan Wade.
Honestly, you won't be disappointed. He's wonderful. Okay, in any event. So, after that, we went to Nash's house. Nash's house is the place where...
it's the house next to New Place, which was Shakespeare bought the biggest house in Stratford once he became famous. And it's also Nash's house is his son-in-law's.
His granddaughter's.
His granddaughter's...
old house.
His granddaughter's husband's...
I mean, she lived there too.
Yeah.
Interesting about New Place. New Place was actually owned by a man who was the Lord Mayor of London, and he bought that to retire in, or he built that to retire in, and then Shakespeare bought it. And we learned all sorts of interesting facts about it, like the fact that it was eventually bought by this crazy couple who were a bunch of Tories and evil and like hated tourists and hated any sort of play or anything like that, and they hated the poor tax.
So they would rather have not had people come and tear down Shakespeare's old building than... No, they would rather not have anyone come.
Basically what happened, they got
tore down the buildings so that people wouldn't come.
They tore down Shakespeare's old house because they got really annoyed with the tourists, and they got chased out of town. It was ridiculous. So now all that's left of Shakespeare's old house is a well and the foundations. But actually, really interestingly, the Shakespeare Trust Foundation is organizing an archaeological dig. So when we got there, like literally in a week's time, they're going to start this day. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
And then we went to...
The doctor?
No, the church.
Oh, right. We went to Shakespeare's church, which was pretty cool because it's apparently where Shakespeare is buried. But
right. Let me take this from here. When I was a senior in high school, I had a fantastic English teacher who was a Navy interrogator, which is pretty cool, I'd like to think. But he told us that Shakespeare is actually not buried in his grave, and I tend to believe him because he's a really smart man. Actually, funny story about that. I'm really big on the Day of Silence, which is, like a day of like solidarity with like lesbians and gays who aren't allowed, like who can't reveal their true selves and say, who they are, therefore being silent. So last year on the Day of Silence, I was silent all day, except when we were in English class and the teacher said, and where is Shakespeare buried? And I just like burst out, no one knows! And I was like, oh crap, it's Day of Silence. I shouldn't have been speaking.
Good story.
Thank you. We're keeping that in there.
Okay.
It was really embarrassing. But yeah, go gays. And Shakespeare and graves that don't have any bones in them.
You said gays and then Shakespeare and graves. It sounded like go gays and Shakespeare and gays that don't have any bones.
That's not staying in there. No. But yeah, so very interesting, and it's part of, because there's no bones in his grave, that's part of like some of the conspiracy theories that Shakespeare wasn't a real person, that he was multiple people, blah 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 blah, which obviously are not true.
It's kind of like the Bible. Like people say the different...
Or like the Da Vinci Code. In any event, after the church, which had a lovely vicar who was like, good afternoon, welcome to the Holy Trinity Church. The church, actually, really interestingly enough, it was really like it was really old. People had been worshiping on site since like 700 CE, and then had been worshiping inside the church since like 1200 CE.
That's really old. I didn't see that.
Yeah, it was on the pamphlet.
Oh my gosh.
It was on the pamphlet.
Oh, that's crazy. But it had beautiful stained glass windows that were like very, very intricate. The entire building was like that, and you could tell it was just like such an old place. Yeah. Like all the wood was like, very old looking, and it was just like a really cool place to be in.
Yeah, it was cool. So after that, we went to Hall's Croft, which was the home of Shakespeare's son-in-law and his daughter after they got married and old and stuff. And, we learned about them, and he was probably Shakespeare's doctor, like... Meh.
Well, because he was the only doctor in a 35-mile radius, so you're tilted, we're tilted.
Okay.
But
now you can't see my face. There we go.
In a 35-mile radius, so he was most likely every single person's doctor. Like, unless Shakespeare did not have a doctor, which is pretty unreasonable to think that because he's pretty wealthy. So, yeah, he was most likely his doctor.
And we learned a lot about, like, doctoring techniques.
Yeah,
in
the time, yeah.
Which was cool. After that...
There were lots of, like, herbal remedies, and they were really big on, like, herbs and stuff.
And, like, balancing of the fluid.